A few years ago, I was at a meeting in Orlando, and when I returned to the airport, it was obvious that most people weren't there to go to meetings. They had all gone to visit Mickey and friends. When I was seated in the waiting area, I was near a mother and father and a boy of about 4 years old. So the parents said to the child, "What did you like most about Disney World?" He thought for a moment and said, "The monorail." Then they said, "Well, what's the second best thing you can remember about Disney World?" The boy said, "The popcorn was great." Now, the parents had probably spent thousands of dollars bringing the kid to Disney World, and they could have just put him on a train and given him popcorn, and he would have been fine. Sometimes we tend to complicate things when simple is the approach to take. And that might be a good direction in thinking about today's feast, the Holy Trinity. We could get very complicated and examine the various theories and theological writings about what it means to have three persons in one God. But rather than doing that, let's take a simple route. And that is that the Trinity really is a model for relationships. If we can appreciate what the Trinity is in itself, we might have a better notion on how we are called to relate one to the other, especially in a relationship based on love. Some would say that the Trinity is the original model of love, a model upon which all other relationships need to be modeled. That's because the three persons are distinct but not separate. They're three, but they're also one. Love really is a we, a you and a me. And when I love God or another person, I don't cease to be myself, and yet I am different because I'm in a relationship with the other. The philosopher Martin Buber described relationships as an I-thou experience, especially when it's a relationship that is built on love. Centuries before Buber wrote that, St. Augustine said that relationships begin to fall when two ice-cold words creep into it. Those words, mine and thine, mine and yours. Words of individual possession and focus. And that's the opposite of the ideal that's in the so-called I-thou relationship. Where is all this leading? Well, today I would encourage each of us to look at one relationship we have. One relationship that is based on love. Might be with a spouse, a parent, a child, a friend. Examine it honestly and ask how mine and thine may have crept into the relationship over the last weeks, months, or years. I need to ask myself, have I been concerned only about my wants, my desires, my rights, my property, so that the relationship with the other is less dependent on love than it really was before? I need to ask difficult questions. Have I become selfish or unforgiving, uncaring, insensitive? Where do we need to reflect the love of God to that particular person? Life may be more complicated than a train ride and a box of popcorn, but often it is in the simple, uncomplicated parts of life that we can find real happiness and even the meaning of the Trinity.